What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Size Up by National Fire Radio, where what you do off the job matters. It's your old friend Pip back on the mic. One day there is going to be a guest host on this show. I just don't know who it's going to be yet, but someone's going to tune in and they're going to hear that intro and be like, wait, that's not Pip. And then they're going to hear a new voice and a new name, and it's got to happen. Like, I got to go on vacation or something, I guess. That's what they do on real TV shows or like the late shows, right? They get a celebrity guest host in, so maybe I should work on that. I'm gonna fake write that one down because I'm never gonna remember it anyway, and it's never probably gonna happen. But I think I can get a fake guest host to come on the Size Up. So if you'd like to volunteer, hit me up on the Instagram or on my email or my cell phone if you have that number or whatever it is, and you can volunteer to host the Size Up, and I'll take like a summer off. That would be nice. I've been doing this for a year and I'm already looking at vacation. So talk about being a career firefighter, right? When we're always looking for the days off. Speaking of days off, speaking of a guest host, I feel like my guest today has more podcast experience than I do. I mean, he's got a camera that was automatically zooming in and out just on its own, it seemed like, and this killer setup going on. And he has this great podcast pedigree of probably more shows than I've been on at this point. We have been on some of the same shows. Some of the shows he's been on I have never even heard of. So they're added to my queue of let me listen to more different shows out there. But, you know, I'm just going to keep blowing him up. And if you're watching on YouTube, he is wearing an epic shirt right now. So Trevor Williams from the Williams Key. What's going on, man? How are you?
Hey, good. Hey, thanks for having me on the show. You mentioned my camera that was zooming in and out. It's got like AI built into it, so it kind of it tracks with your face as you move around. But that got me thinking, if you do want a vacation, I think we're getting to the point where you can get like a AI stand-in. Cool. You just type in, a couple lines and they'll take it from there. But nobody can replace you though, so we don't want that.
Listen, AI. So we use a pod. I don't hide any of this. We use a podcast program, and AI helps us with some of the editing and things like that. And it is getting way better at knowing me. So for all I know, there could be something built into the back of this that has like an AI host that's like, I could be Pip. Like, here's my mohawk and mustache. Right. Let's go.
We're all getting replaced. Hopefully not in firefighting, but
it's a totally interesting thing. And again, this podcast has no script and we weren't planning on talking about AI, but I just was speaking to a friend who I met, on my crazy out there journey. And he has a company that's based off of AI and helping smaller companies kind of utilize AI to expand their company. And it's the wave of the future, right? I guess.
Yeah.
Or the present maybe is the way to say
it. It definitely is. It's moving quick. It's kind of scary, but also like super helpful. Like I've made stickers and t-shirts using, the AI technology and the image generating and that sort of thing. So it definitely has its place. We just have to like be a little careful.
For sure. And look, I've written policies for work based off of AI, right? Or I've even seen other people send me a policy and I'm like, you used AI, didn't you? But I think what puts us in an interesting place, and, I don't know exactly how old you are, but I'll say we're probably around the same age and time frame. When social media first hit, when the Facebook happened, or if you're old enough to have a MySpace account, like I still do, you could check me out on MySpace.
Friends with Tom,
yeah. We didn't know what to do with it, right? And I know for one, I messed up wholeheartedly with stuff that I put on social media that I probably should not have at that time. And it taught us all good lessons. I feel like with AI, I know I'm way more cautious with using it. And I'm thinking that's kind of what you're saying too about being careful, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I guess we don't even really know the limitations. Maybe there are none. As it's just growing so fast and it's feeding off of data and more things are getting automated, and as humans interact with it, right, it's just getting smarter and smarter. So yeah, unstoppable force, it seems.
Yeah, well, hopefully there will be a stop at some point. Like, it's not going to be like the Terminator where it becomes self-aware, or it already is self-aware for all we
want
know,
to survive, right? This disruptor, because it's definitely a disruptor.
It for sure is. And again, like with any disruptor, there are positives to disruptors and there are negatives. You just have to be aware of it. Whether it's a product like you have, fitness like I was out touting forever, you have to be careful with it all, right?
Yeah. For like the internet, for example, huge disruptor. Tons of good stuff, but there's also some bad stuff that has come from it too.
Yeah, and we all have to learn about that. And it's cool. Like I had my son on, many episodes ago, but we spent a long time talking about what he's learning in middle school. He's going to high school next year, but it's part of the curricula now to teach them the dangers of not even just social media, but the internet. And I'm sure he knows more about AI than you and I combined, I bet.
Yeah, crazy.
And it's the information at hand. Like I said, I've used it for some policies, right? So, type in what you're kind of looking to do within your organization into AI, and it gives you a very basic framework that then you can apply your organization or your company's parts to that. So
Hmm.
instead of me having to spend the time typing the entire thing out, I just have to kind of plug and play my parts in and take things away that I'm like, whoa, that's never happening.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. It still needs the human factor where we're like, nah, that's not going to work, and this is better, and that sort of thing. But I've even used it to find podcasts. Like I'll be like, show me like active firefighter, podcasts, and I'll go and oh, I've never heard of that one before, and I can't. I did a while ago, so I can't remember if yours came up. But
I was going to say,
there's
did
so
mine
many
come up? I'm
uses.
going to have to
It's
talk to
just
the AI, man. As you
right.
talk about
Yeah.
SEO, right? Like search engine optimization, folks. At this point, I think everybody probably knows what SEO is, but I remembered when I learned, you could control what people saw for your company on using SEO. And I'm like, wait a minute. Are you telling me that like it's not just because I typed in these words, or it is because I typed in these words, but I'm seeing this before that because they paid more money, right?
Hmm. Yeah. It's oh man, don't get me started on that. Like I have a
Right.
I have a marketing team that is kind of new, like within the last year, and just learning like what they do. And I thought that getting a team, like I'm pretty savvy with like the tech stuff, and I've been in this game a long time, and I used to make my own websites back in the day and stuff. And I'm about to release my third website that I'm paying for, and I've never paid this much money for a website, and I'm like, I know you guys can do it better than I can now, or at least have the time, to figure it out and keep up with all the latest and greatest. But learning from my marketing team, I thought like, yeah, I'll pick up a few tips and tricks, and then maybe I can take it from there. But no, there's no way. Like it's an entire team of people,
Sure.
kind of working for me, and like every day, all day long, like trying to fix things. And there's always a problem. There's a million tech problems that can go wrong with anything, like your online store, your website, or social media. Um, so yeah, it's just crazy to see like the trends and the technology changing quickly and trying to keep up with that. Like you can't do it. You
It's
need
impossible.
like an entire team to just like manage that for you at this day and age if you want to have a successful business and
Yeah, there's just
be
no
seen,
way.
right?
And like you said, it's a team, right? And it's multiple people. It's not just, oh, I pay one guy to do my marketing, because
Whole
that
team.
person can't even keep up with all the things that are happening. Which social media site you have to be on, what the new algorithm says, what SEO says, which there's no, unless you know it, there's no secret code that tells you what the algorithm says on social
No,
media. You got
and
to
it's
just kind of
always
be paying
changing.
so attention to it, right?
Yeah. On top of that, like Google and Meta and TikTok and all these different platforms are constantly changing their policies too, and like what they're requiring from you and what you it's it's a headache. So I'm
You mean
glad,
you have
at
to,
least they can handle some of that for me.
when you accept those terms, you should really read all those terms that you're just like, oh, new terms, click accept, I'll move on and
Right.
not look at it.
We don't have time for that.
There's no time for that whatsoever. So again, my show is really like totally unscripted, but didn't even really 100% introduce you. So why don't you tell everybody a little bit about yourself and what it is you do in the world, and we'll go from there.
Sure. Yeah, that's a complicated question, but I'll do my best. Um, Trevor Williams. I live out here in Los Angeles County area. Married, two young daughters, 1 and 2 years old, and I'm a firefighter for the Los Angeles County Fire Department out of Firehouse 8 in West Hollywood. I've been on the job a little over 8 years with county, 4 years volunteer. Before that, grew up as a missionary, lived in Africa, lived in Haiti, lived on the East Coast, lived in Connecticut, born in Virginia, and I am the inventor of the Williams key, which is a firefighter, first responder, soft entry tool, tool designed to open doors without doing damage. And that's a little bit
It's
of
a
the
little bit. It's a
background.
lot to unpack there, man. There
We
is
can start
definitely a
wherever
lot
you
to
want.
unpack there. But I think a good place to start, just because the majority of my listeners are firefighters. So I think if we talk a little bit about the Williams Key, and then I definitely want to get into your missionary work, and also the reason why you lived in Connecticut, because who lives in Connecticut in reality? Like, who actually plans to be like, I want to live in Connecticut? It's a joke of mine to a lot of people that it's a drive-through state. So we're definitely not skipping out that way to go.
Okay, so I did have a question for you because I don't know where you live, but
Okay.
I have an idea in my head where I think you live. But where do you live? What
I
state?
think I'd rather hear your idea, because then I know if I like you or not.
New Jersey.
100%, bro.
Okay. All right.
100%. I am.
Nailed it. Yeah.
My kids make a joke that, like, Dad, you are so New Jersey. If you ever leave New Jersey, you're getting a tattoo of New Jersey, right? And I'm like, hell yeah, I'm getting a tattoo of New Jersey when I leave. Like, that's the day I'm going to do it. The day I move out is the day I get New Jersey tattooed on.
Well, better not move out.
I am. It's in the cards to the retirement plan for my wife and I when the boys are 18 and old enough to legally be on their own, at least, and I don't have to worry about them anymore, legally speaking. We're going somewhere. I don't know where, but we're going to go to a lot of places.
Okay.
Because as much as I do love New Jersey, and we have a lot of different cool things here, I want to see the world, man. I want to try other places, you know?
Oh yeah, there's way too much for one lifetime. We've done a lot of traveling, me and my wife, especially before kids, and I was like, this is cool. Like once you start traveling, you're like, oh man, there's no limit. Like you can be content for the rest of your life, no problem, as long as you have like the means to be able to
Sure.
to travel, and you can just travel the rest of your life and be like fully content, in my opinion. So,
I'm right there with you. And too, like, even those means is, again, this is my retirement plan. I'm still going to be working. My wife will still be working. We're just not going to, maybe have the high stress careers we have right now. We'll be doing things like I know this for a fact. In my retirement, I can work at a brewery and pour beers. I probably can't be a bartender and pour mixed drinks or anything like that, but I can work at a brewery and I can pour a beer like no
I can
other.
pull the
I
handle.
can pull that handle and turn it. I even know how to pour a Guinness for real, like if I had to. So there are enough breweries around this world that I can just kind of keep on keeping on.
Nice. There you go. You got it all planned out.
Yeah, it sounds great, doesn't it?
Yeah. All right, cool. So Williams Key, I'll talk a little bit about that. I'll grab a tool real quick.
Oh, cool. So make sure you're turning in on YouTube to see the actual tool.
Yeah. So I always mess up my camera.
No, you're good.
There it is. Okay, so it's a very simple tool. It started out of a framing square. And my background is in carpentry. So I was a commercial carpenter and I installed doors specifically. Did that for a number of years, got hands-on with thousands of doors and locks. And it's a specialty trade. So I had a big tool cart with a million little just tools I'd made, or like little door lock tools that you use it, every couple hundred doors just for like a small tweak or whatever. So this is before I was a firefighter, but wanted to be a firefighter, and you're always problem solving, just like we do in the fire service. Like we're critical thinkers and stuff. So and I've installed doors at like oil refinery, like 1,000-pound doors, bomb-proof doors, or blast doors, lots of fire stations, lots of police stations, government facilities, and then tons of schools. So that's mainly where I was working. But yeah, you get like really comfortable with how doors and locks work. And as a firefighter now, I like to say I have like a X-ray vision of what I think is, you never know for sure, but I have a pretty good idea what's behind most doors and how they're functioning, how those locks are working. And it's never for certain. Like same with cutting on a roof. Like you have a pretty good idea of the building construction and what's underneath that roof, but you don't know if somebody like built a roof on top of a roof or did something against code. Same thing with doors. Like we never know for sure. But I can pick locks, and I go around with like my wizard kit of just specialty tools that I've made. So when I was a rookie on the job, I had that kit, and you try and be humble and stuff, and I'm new, so I'm not trying to like show how cool I am or like flex my knowledge, but I would like, subtly be able to get into these doors pretty quick. And it was like a pride thing for me too. Like I'd want to be the first one to the door. If I could see it from the street, like if we're rolling up in the rig, I'd try and do my size up from the street. If I couldn't see it, I'd bring my whole bag, and I didn't know what I was going to come across. Right. So I was always using my version of what's now known as the Williams key. So guys were seeing me get into a lot of doors with it. And especially in my area, I work in West Hollywood. So we have high rise, we have commercial, we have a lot of apartments, and then we have some residential as well. Lots of different doors. Even to this day, 8 years later, I'm seeing new doors every shift, that I never got to play with before. So my wheels are always turning, and sometimes I'm like, oh, I need to make a tool that does this now, and keeps me creative and adapting to the scene and the environment. So but back to the Williams key, I was pulling out my key. It didn't look as pretty as this back in the day.
There was no logo at that point.
Yeah, and I'd get into these doors, and a lot of outward swinging, a lot of apartment gates and that sort of thing. But before long,
on the West Coast, you mentioned that like we don't have a lot of apartment gates here on the East Coast. Like I can think back to the original Karate Kid when he went from New Jersey to California, and he had he kicked the outpost gate into the kid. We don't have those. East Coast wise, they are very few and far between.
Yeah, every city is different. I get guys who like watch all my videos, and they're like, all right, cool, yeah, I definitely want that. That's gonna be great. And then they get it, and they're like, I don't have any doors like that, and where I work, and they didn't think about that, or they weren't observant enough to, realize. But it definitely has its place, and I think once people get it, they're looking more, for those specific types of doors that they know it works with, and that's part of the training too. Know what it works with, what it doesn't work with, and it's a tool for the toolbox. So
I love how you said too about like, because I think about when you say like you're talking about these, and I can tell you right now, I changed the lock on my screen door a few years ago, and that damn thing still doesn't work the way it probably is supposed to, because I did it and not someone like you with all these different tools in your toolbox. But it works, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I mean, locks are fickle, and over time they tend to deteriorate, and the door could sag, which could disengage the anti-loading pin on your slam latch, and then create a vulnerability. And that's a lot of the times what this tool is like revealing or exposing, right? It's like there's a lot of doors out there that people think they're safe and secure, but if I can get in under 5 seconds, like maybe it's not that secure. Maybe add a deadbolt, or some update your door, update your lock. So I like to look at myself as like the good hacker, like how companies will like hire hackers to like try and find security vulnerabilities in their software and that sort of thing. And there's a place for that. You want a good person to find something like that before a bad person finds something like that. So part of it's awareness, but
do you find yourself, now I have a question about that then, do you find yourself like post call now, like when the building owner shows up, being like, pulling them to the side and being like, hey man, you gotta fix this door here. we got in, like, because I just said it to someone. It was about their fire command room, and it was actually I was the acting deputy, and my driver was like, we don't even need to open the Knox box, look right here, and he like just popped the door because it was so messed up. And when the owners came, we told them. But do you find yourself doing that a lot?
Yeah, like part of me likes to know that I can get in really quick, but if I'm like legitimately concerned for their safety, I'm like, yeah, you got to update this. This is just, it's so easy for anybody to get in here if they wanted to, but locks keep honest people honest, right? So it's like a criminal, they're not going to go out of their way to buy a Williams key that's like more expensive than a brick or a crowbar or something, and they don't care about that stuff. They're just going to get in, and they probably know this stuff more than firefighters do. We learn from criminals all the time, like the Halligan, that was like part of a bank robbery or something,
I believe so. Yeah.
So yeah.
We see it in the college area because we have a college where I work, and like you'll go on these calls and be like, guys, How long you been trying to get in the door for? Because they've just destroyed the frame. Or how many times have you locked your keys out and didn't call the fire department type thing?
Yeah. And I love those lockout calls because that's kind of where I shine. At very least, I can pick a lock. So,
Hey,
um,
listen, everybody has their specialty, right? And that's it, man. I'll take you on the truck with me any day of the week. How are you with elevators, too? Elevators,
oh,
modern?
good. Yeah.
Yeah.
We pick elevators almost every shift.
There you go, man. Good with elevators, good getting into locks. Come on my company, man, because it is, I will not lie, it's not my area of expertise, and it never has been. I've gotten in, obviously, and everything. One of the elevator problems is the height of the drop key where it goes. It's just not for a short guy like me,
Right.
even with
So
a
you're
step
five
stool.
two, right?
Yeah.
All right. So we have a guy about the same height. One of our truck drivers, we call him an engineer for our department. And he will bring the chalk from the truck with him to the elevator
My
calls. And he'll
man.
stand up on that like a little stool if he needs to pick something. So,
We bring our step stool every time, but I still our step ladder. But I'm still like, no, it's even more embarrassing, especially when like my ladder driver is I don't know 6 foot tall. I'm like, you do it, bro. I'm not climbing up on this little ladder when you can just look at the thing and put it in. It's just not where it's happening. But it's good, and I think for my listeners out there who aren't in the fire service or emergency services, it's good to know that listen, we all do get trained the same, and we all can pretty much do every job, but there are people that do some jobs better, and as a captain I have to know who those people are, and sometimes I have to call them to the scene to be like, hey man, what do you think about this? You're an electrician on your days off and we're having an electrical issue. Sorry I had to bring your whole company out here, but I need your advice right now.
yeah, I had a captain who didn't like me. And he was actually my old captain. And I bid to a different piece of apparatus, which is run by a different captain who I felt had my better take care of me. And this captain who didn't like me was running the truck. They had a call that they, and I'm assigned to the truck, and he would put me on the engine when he worked. And they had to call the engine because they needed like me specifically to like help them. And he was the captain, and he was just like, it was funny because
Secret
I
victory,
got
bro.
in there.
Just
I
it's
did.
one of
I
those you
did
just
what I
show
needed
up
to
and
do
do your
really
job.
quick, and it
Listen,
was
if I was the officer on that engine that day, I would be like, "Yo, man, we got to talk. Not to you, but to him. Like, you got to figure this one out, man. This
yeah.
is not good."
Well, it said a lot. It was like a strong statement. Like, what are you doing? Like, it just reflects on kind of his character and stuff too. So I didn't mention
So
any names for any of you listening out there, so nobody knows who I'm talking
it is
about.
cool though, like when you hear tell these stories and things, and again, for folks that don't know, there are a lot of times that we get called, and it's the majority of our calls are not fires. A lot of times it's just I locked myself out of the house, or you'll be at a warehouse, a really secure warehouse, and they have a sprinkler going off because of an accident in there, and we need to get into their extremely secure facility. So having folks like you and tools like you is just a way that's going to prevent us from causing further damage, and it's called soft forcible entry, right?
Yeah, respectful entry, soft entry, covert entry. Those are all terms you'll hear thrown around for like not doing damage. Um, but yeah, so the way this kind of got off the ground is eventually guys wanted one, right? So they saw me getting in and being successful with this tool, and they're like, hey, you want to make me one of those stupid tools? Like, they could never give you a compliment, right? So
Never.
and it's not like a fast tool to make. I encourage anybody to make their own if they want. Like, you don't have to support me. Like, just get better at your trade and make yourself a key. But my keys are available, if you want to save the time, because it takes me like a while of like grinding and like getting all the tweaking and getting the measurements right. And especially if you want something finished, powder coat, screen printed, laser engraved, all that stuff kind of goes into it. But yeah, I made a few for like my buddies that were asking. And then once those kind of got out in the field, I quickly had like close to 100 requests. Like, I work for a big department. There's like 5,000 firefighters and stuff. So, and my station is big. So there's constantly like overtimers and people running through our station pretty much every shift. Like, I meet somebody new. So stuff gets seen, stuff gets out there pretty quickly, especially stuff that works. So we're always sharing tips and tricks with each other and learning from each other, sometimes learning what not to do, but for the most time learning like cool new techniques with stuff. So once I started getting a lot of requests, I was like, all right, I'm gonna have to like have these made. Like I don't want to hand make these tools anymore. Like it's too much work. And there's enough interest. I'll go put in like a request for a small batch for the fabricator. So that was the first batch. It was like 100. Um, there was a guy at my station at the time who knew how to use a laser engraver, and he owned a laser engraver, and he brought it into the station, and he was like, if you paint these black, we can engrave them. The cheap engravers, they don't engrave on like the stainless steel. It bounces like
Okay.
it's almost like a mirror, and it'll bounce off and stuff. So you can't, the expensive ones you can, like 10-20 grand engraver, but I wasn't there yet. So I was like, yeah, I like the color black. That's an easy like thing. We can engrave people's names. So I was like, okay, this is kind of turning into something. So I came up with a name for the tool, the Williams key. My last name is Williams. And then having them black, I could engrave that logo on. I'm pretty good with graphic design, and my wife went to school for it, so she like cleaned up the logo and stuff, and then made a website. My wife can do that too. I can do that too. Yeah, so we just had kind of some easy things, skills that we're able to utilize to like quickly like start the company. And yeah, before long we were engraving on every tool, leaving the other side blank for if somebody wanted their name. So we had the logo on one side, blank on the other. But firefighters, we love custom stuff. So everybody, I think that really sold it initially. Like everybody wanted their own and their name on it. And it just kind of took off pretty quick from there and started the Instagram. Now there's like a lot of different similar tools out there, and it's like more common knowledge, like how to Lloyd or how to get through latches and do the soft entry stuff. But you still have rookies coming on and new guys on the job, and people are still learning. But back then I had like lots of videos kind of going viral. Like it was like maybe I was like feeding the algorithm the right way, and now it's changed or whatever. But it's hard to get a video to go viral these days,
Sure.
in my opinion.
Well, because there's so many. I mean, you're talking about days where like that was the only video out there. Where
Yeah,
now today there's probably videos right now getting launched with someone getting into a door. You know what I mean? Or
right.
anything like that. Same in the fitness world. There weren't many fitness videos out there when I started. Now I may as well waste my time trying to
Yeah.
put something out there.
Well, I mean, I posted a video yesterday, and at least two other accounts like copied it and posted it and didn't tag me. I just happened to like follow them, so I'm like, oh, cool, thanks, man. Like, I mean, if you try
Appreciate
hard
it.
enough, you can probably figure out like how to find it and get to my page and stuff. But at least tags help me out a little bit. But yeah,
It's
it's crazy.
hard,
Like
right?
people can do that.
That game is hard. You just said it. Like when you're in this business world of social media and things, and the folks that put those videos up, whatever their intent was, it could be an ill intent, it could be just I forgot or I thought I did it and it didn't take. You never really know, right? And anything out there always helps, but at the same time, it's like, come on, man, you should know how this game works. You know what I mean? Like, throw me a tag.
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't know. Social media, is, we kind of talked before. It's like always changing, always growing. So a couple weeks ago, I made a second Instagram account for Williams Key because mine is like started to just get flagged for everything. People get scared of the tool, they report it. They're like, "Oh, this is for burglars and criminals," that sort of thing.
I never would have thought that ever in my. As you were saying it, I'm like, oh my god, they're gonna say it's because he's selling them to criminals.
Yeah, and initially that was kind of pushing it because people get angry about it and like comment, and like the comments kind of make stuff trend, right? Like when people start talking about a post. So I'm like, yeah, cool. Like hate on it all you want. You're just helping it like kind of hit the algorithm and stuff. And now I think the amount of people that have reported my account is like, I think there's like some like percentage of like, if you have so many reports, like you need this many more like that are good and haven't been reported, so that like that percentage range is like healthy. And I
Yeah.
think my original account is not in a healthy like range, so I'm like, I'm gonna make a new one, see if that hits or takes off better or whatever. So I'm
Did
trying
that
it.
kind of
We'll
work
see.
yet or no? Because I have heard recently that if you make a new page, it's doing better than your original page, no matter how many people you have following you.
Yeah. It's new. So, I mean, there's people following it and I'm able to kind of like collaborate with myself.
Yeah.
Um, and the thing about having a business account, which is my original page, you can't use like normal music. It has to be like uncopyrighted music in your videos. But my new page is not a business page. So I'm like, okay, I can finally like use some actually like some cool songs in these videos. But I can't collaborate with myself if I use a cool like mainstream song. But at least it's like I like these songs better and I can have a second version of the same video. So
So
I
basically, you
think
did it for the
it's
cool
gonna be
music.
positive.
You did it for
Yeah.
the cool music. That's it.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm totally down with that. It's so hard because my kids both sing and they go to School of Rock, and I can post them singing any of their songs, but School of Rock can't because of the copyrightedness of the music and their type of page and their company and things. So it's kind of always interesting to see how that works. Like I couldn't do a collab post with them of my son like crushing Purple Rain this past week, not Purple Rain, November Rain this past weekend because they wouldn't be able to share it because it's him singing the song, but I can do it.
Oh, crazy. Yeah, it's funny how that stuff works and how easily it's like picked up now
Yeah.
with the technology. So
I occasionally get because I still obviously we still have 555 Fitness, and I'll occasionally get messages like of a workout we posted in 2016 that it's being taken down due to copywriting of the music that's playing in the gym in the background of us doing this workout, and I'm like, oh, I guess we lost that one. Sorry.
yeah. Yeah. So I got Instagram like the first year it came out. So I've had my Instagram for like almost 20 years or however old it is. I forget. But yeah, I would get the same thing on like super old, like stuff I didn't even know I posted like long time ago. Um, so yeah, there's stuff just being scanned automatically and they're finding it. So
It's just
it's
unreal.
nuts.
Again, though, to kind of where we started with this whole social media thing, but just that people are thinking like, "Oh, this is a bad tool. It's for burglars." Like that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna make a tool for burglars and go on Instagram and be like, "Hey, cat burglar, buy this tool to get into people's houses."
Yeah. What's funny is me and my wife bought a brick and mortar tanning salon right before um 2020 hit. And so it was bad timing and it ended up being in a bad area and we got broken into like multiple times. And after the first time, um because I'm like a door guy, I know all the best stuff that could like secure a door and stuff. I was like, all right, this is not happening again.
That's a
And
challenge.
so I think somebody hooked up like a pickup truck to the door and like pulled it off, like Fast and the Furious style. Because um, my wife, she kind of monitors the cameras and stuff, and she got an alert, and she like looked at the cameras and didn't see anything. And 30 minutes later, like they ended up getting in and like just like pulled the door off the hinges pretty much, like outward swinging metal door. So after that I'm like, all right, we're doing concrete filled frame, we're doing a piano hinge that has like security screws and anti-vandal plate that runs the entire length of the door
I
and
mean,
panic hardware. And like
it's
I
a
just went,
tanning salon. Like,
yeah, and like
what were
what
they
do we
thinking
have,
they
like
were gonna get? Was it like
uh,
stubborn fire? I feel like it's like a stubborn fireman that's like, I'm gonna
it
do
just
this. They
I
eventually were
really
like,
wanted
I
to
am gonna
tan.
do this. I'm gonna get this door.
Well, and then we eventually did get some camera footage of a dude in there, like with the cash register, which we don't really even accept cash. Like it's
Yeah.
like $100 in the register, maybe. And he's like yanking on it, and then he like kind of like yanks really hard, and it comes up, and he hits himself in the head. And now he's like roaming around, like so you can tell this guy's an idiot, but somehow got in. But anyway, people were like, I hope people break into your place, you know, with your tool and stuff like that. And I'm like, all right, man, like thanks, but I
It's
have been
not
broken
happening.
into, so thank you, but they didn't use my tool. They for sure didn't use my tool. It was like
It's just out of
$2,000 worth of
control.
damage. So
It's so interesting. Like I talk about this a lot on a lot of episodes. Like I love, like I get to meet you because of social media, right? And because of what it is we do outside of just being firefighters. And we can talk about being firefighters and the differences between East Coast and West Coast. And we can talk about, you know, your innovation of this tool and how you've grown your business. But you still hear these little funny type stories and almost outtakes that are just like, This is great, man. This is why I do this, because not that I'm happy you got broken into, but I'm picturing the guy slamming the cash register into his face and like dying inside right now.
Yeah, so at least that made it like we're like, haha, this stupid guy. Like at least that made it a little bit better for us. We had a good video out of it, and he suffered a little bit. You could tell he was kind of dazed the whole rest of the robbery. But yeah,
Again, who breaks into it like a tanning salon? Like who like again, I get what they're getting at and what they need it for, but like I don't know. I just feel like there's better places you could break into if I was a criminal looking for cash.
Yeah, we eventually we went out of business with it, and we tried to get the beds out of there. So we bought the business like as is, like it was already a tanning salon, and these beds are like 10 grand or whatever. They're like pretty expensive beds, but over time they lose a lot of value, and by the time we were moving out, each one only was worth like a couple grand, but they're like over 1,000 pounds each. So we started like trying to tear down like the walls to like get them out and disassemble them, and we got a few of them out there, but we were just like I eventually had a hernia. I don't know if it was from that or from
From the
something
tanning
else,
bed.
but we're like destroying our bodies, and we
They are
eventually
quite
just like
awkward
left
to
it.
move. And I'm not saying that because I'm from New Jersey and, that whole stereotype of guys who may be Italian from New Jersey and tanning beds. But I do know that they are awkward to move. We just won't talk about why. I know that.
Oh yeah, big time.
But
So
it sounds to me too like, you really are like a true entrepreneur, right? You have that entrepreneurial heart, whether it be carpentry, the Williams key, buying a tanning salon, doing websites. Is that really who you are, like way deep down inside?
yeah, I think I probably get this from my dad because he's like a big ideas guy and a big thinker, and like to this day he'll still like, and I've asked him to back off a little bit, but he'll still like have like 5 ideas a week. And he's like, oh man, Trevor, you got to run with this one. This is going to be good. And they're like major ideas, right? Like build a community or something like that, And I'm like, Dad, these are like, I got a lot going on as it is. Like I can't just take up, and they are good ideas for somebody, but he, he plants the seed, but he would never like, for the most part, like put the money down and like invest in the idea. He's just like, he's a giver. Like he likes to give ideas to people, and he's brilliant. Like a lot of these ideas are really good, but I think I did inherit a little bit, maybe not the brilliance, but at least having ideas. So best bad idea I've had all day.
Well, that's another good
So
title there too.
yeah, right. So yeah, I mean, especially like if I get that downtime where I'm alone, which isn't very often anymore, like family, kids, fire service, like stuff like this, like there's always like a conversation where I'm not alone with my thoughts. But when I am, like my wheels start turning, and that's when I had to like make a notebook, like start writing down ideas and stuff. Cause yeah, for every, 100 bad ideas, you might get one good one. And, the tanning salon seemed like a good idea at the time, but due to outside circumstances,
Things.
it turned out not to be a good idea, and we can't predict that. But yeah, and so like Williams Key, for example, I was kind of a victim of circumstance. Like I made that for myself, and then it turned into a monster where sold over 30,000 of them now at this point, and that's created a platform for me to be able to be creative and make more tools. So now I have like 10 different tools, and nobody wants to buy a wedge from some guy named Trevor, but the Williams Key company that makes a solid tool that people trust also sells a wedge. Okay, yeah, maybe I'll check that out. So it's created some opportunity for me. And so a quick example, this is like a super simple idea, and I include these as a sample with each
Come
tool.
on,
But
AI camera, get it right.
yeah, there we go. And I thought of this idea on a plane. Like I was just sitting there on a plane, and what it is it's like an emergency notification if we make entry into a building or a home when nobody's home, and they show up. Maybe we like had to force entry, or maybe we did some damage, because I'm not the only one using these now. They've been to thousands. They've been sent to thousands of different departments. If you do damage, you leave this on the door, and you can let the person know, like, hey, you weren't home, you did not get broken into, this was a fire service call, your smoke alarm was going off, we had to check and make sure everything was okay, and we turned off your smoke alarm.
Which
Or
again is that fireman ingenuity where it's like, I can't tell you how many times I've done that and been like, oh, we're just gonna lock the door and leave now, and I was in someone's house that they had no idea of it. And it is really easy when there is an emergency. I don't want to say it's easy. When there is an emergency, you're not really thinking about this next step notification. We generally don't go into houses in my department. We'll have the police come out to at least make a report of what happened, that we were there. But sometimes I have left notes like, hey, your smoke detector is down because the battery's dead and your neighbor was pissed. But to have a form like that on the rig, again, it's just genius, because it's going to also remind me, hey, I should really do this, right?
yeah, like let's say you came home to your house after you live alone or whatever, you come home to your house and you're like, there's a footprint, or that chair's not where you left it. It's like unsettling, and you're like, what's going on here? Then you're like paranoid. You're like, did I get broken into? Start looking through all your stuff. So it's like, it's a part of the fire service we never think about, but we're in the business of customer service. Like, that's a big part of the job, right? And serving the community, and their taxes pay our salaries and that sort of thing. So, yeah, it's just like that second step that's nice, that we're able to kind of do a nice thing for the public. And so that's a small example of, like, I could probably never sell this if I was nobody, but just having the platform now, departments will buy them by the thousands, and they get to put their logo on it and customize it if they want to, and it's like a pretty easy sell. I just have them printed and shipped. So
no, and when it comes to that customer service end, that is what we're in. We're in the customer service business. You know what I mean? And that's just that one more step. We get a lot now where if you do force entry into a business or into a house, you get the voice talking to you because the person sees you on their camera, and you're like, hello, yeah. I'm the fireman. Who are you?
Yeah, and we have to be careful about that too. I tell guys all the time, like, they'll mess around, and there's cameras in people's houses too. Like, even if you say something behind a patient's back, their camera might have seen it, and that can come back to bite us.
It's a huge thing, especially too with EMS calls. There's cameras I have cameras in my dad's house just because he lives alone, and I want to make sure he's okay when I can't get in touch with him. I can see these things, but that's it. And everyone has these, Ring doorbell cameras. How many times do we see ourselves responding online on someone's Ring doorbell camera, or go back and actually get the footage of pre-arrival because the Ring doorbell camera across the street caught it, or the actual accident happening? So they are everywhere.
That's a good point. I need to start doing that with fires and stuff. Hey,
oh, dude,
pull the footage.
And folks are really more on the fire side than on the police side, are more than happy to kind of give it to you if you ask, or at least, let you record their phone doing it. But we very recently had an Uber driver coming home at like 3:30 in the morning, and someone's back deck was on fire, and she called 911. She has it on video, she has all this. And I was like, you're like the hero of the day here, because if you didn't call, this was going to be a much bigger incident than just what it was.
Yeah. Do you guys use the Citizens app, or have you heard of it?
Not. But we're starting to get. Somehow there's something that's going to tie into our 911 system. So we're definitely not big enough for Citizens app yet. But I know guys in the FDNY that they have a city type app, and sometimes their responses are so long they're actually watching the fire before they get there.
Yeah. So that's what I was going to bring up. So Citizens app is like, our department hasn't adapted it. I'm not sure what that would look like, but we'll pull it up on our personal phones sometimes, and there'll be, like, recently we were staging, and like, weren't totally sure what the call was, and we're waiting for PD, and it was like some violent thing, and we're in Hollywood, right? So there's people everywhere, everybody's like filming all the time, and I'm just sitting in the engine waiting, like nothing else to do. I see on my phone, like, Citizens app pops up, and it's like violent event happening or occurring or whatever. I'm like, oh, I'm on that right now. So I click on it, and I see our rig, like some dude is in his apartment kind of filming from above, and I'm getting like live action. I'm like, hey, like waving my hand out the window, I can see my hand. I'm like, all right, cool, we're live.
But again, it's one of those things that it's technology advancing, and we need to use it to our benefit. Like, if you can get some pre-arrival, hey, you got pre-arrival, that's just going to help you more to see, like, oh, here's this, here's that. So no, we haven't gotten that yet, but I know it's probably coming.
Yeah. So check this out. I don't know if you guys have ever tried this, but we'll use Google Maps sometimes too. Like,
Yep.
if we have like enough time to pull it up, we can see like roof construction or exposures and like that sort of thing. But we've also used it for like sheared hydrant, where we're trying to find the water shut off, and the street's flooded. We can't find it, but we can pull up Google Maps of an unflooded street, and we see the little
Oh, a little cap there. Yeah, see, we don't deal with that on the East Coast. The sheared hydrants don't shoot
we
cool
gotta
water
deal with that.
like in California. They just stay sheared. People call.
Oh, that's right.
God.
Yeah,
because we're dry weld, so you really need a lot to get that happening. But we have Google Maps on our dispatch on our iPad, that's telling us. So I get in the officer seat, and anybody on their phone in my department can have it. But we get a view, an aerial view or a street view, whatever we choose, of what we're responding to, so we can see. And in the beginning, adopting new technologies was like, we can't do this. This is horrible, blah, blah, blah. And what really sold everyone, I think, is the amount of solar panels on roofs in our city that we had no idea existed. But when you see the Google Earth view and it's just covered in solar panels, you're like, oh, this is really paying off to know we're not cutting this roof today.
That's
or going on it, for that matter.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Again, technology and embracing it and all these things, But I know you wanted to talk to a little bit, and we're kind of getting to that towards the end of the show, but you've done a lot of missionary work, and I know you have a foundation that's kind of near and dear to you, and it mostly has to do with Haiti, correct?
Right. Yeah. So I lived in Haiti for a little bit. I grew up as a missionary. My dad was the director of World Vision Haiti for a little bit, and also World Vision in Africa and Zaire. When I was younger, but to touch on Haiti a little bit. It is a long story, but I will summarize it just because we're getting short on time. I lived in Haiti for 3 years as a high schooler in my teen years, and learned the language a little bit. Haiti is the poorest country in the Western Hemisphere. It's south of Florida, about 565 miles, attached to the Dominican Republic. So a lot more people are familiar with Dominican. People never used to know where Haiti was until the earthquake in 2010. So I was not living in Haiti during the time of the earthquake. That was 5 years after I'd moved away. But I just happened to be visiting my family during the week of the earthquake. And I got there a few days before the earthquake. My plan was to work with the United Nations with a new fire program that they had started. And I was in the process of getting hired. So I was trying to build my resume, get a little bit more experience. I had some fire classes under my belt. I was an EMT, and this was a good opportunity for me to visit my family, see some friends after not having been in Haiti for 5 years, and do some, fire charity, if you will. So I show up, and I had to interview with the UN, so it was kind of like a formality. We had already like talked about it, and I was like flying there, right? So it was going to happen, but had to do the formality, had to do the interview. I asked to do the interview a day earlier than scheduled, and it went good. I got the ID and stuff, and had I done it when it was scheduled, I would have been in that building during the time of the earthquake. And that building completely collapsed and killed 300 people. Like everybody in that building died. So I would have been there. Like I was scheduled to be in that building during that time. So right off the bat, I knew like I got a second chance there. But the Haiti earthquake was probably the most devastating natural disaster in modern history. It killed over 300,000 people, left 1 million more homeless and 1 million more injured in a small country of only 7 million people. Yeah. So these are huge numbers.
Boots on the ground with your UN ID as you became like the battalion chief that day. Like,
right.
Trial by fire, man. You're
nobody was trained
mode,
yet,
right?
so there wasn't much. The earthquake did start tons of fires, but there were no trained firefighters at that point. It was in its incipient phase of the program. But no, my priority was like my family, and then doing as much good as I could within, where I was at within the amount of time. And there was so much work to do. When there's
You can't even
300,000
fathom it,
people.
right? As an emergency responder, I can't even fathom being in a place with that much devastation, with zero infrastructure for the most part, zero equipment, zero anything. I mean, I know the teams went from here, but I mean, that probably took over a week until you saw them.
Yeah. So the airport shut down. Like nobody could really leave or fly in commercially. They got like the airports were damaged, but like the big planes could, the C-130s and stuff, they could still kind of land. And I so m just to back up real quick, my family was living there. I had a mom and two sisters that were in a big collapse. They were on the bottom floor of a 5-story apartment that pancaked down on top of them for about 24 hours. We did not think that they were alive. So that was a really hard 24 hours. They were able to get out and with some injuries, but they all survived. And then me and my dad worked on getting them evacuated to get medical attention. And so over the course of a couple of days, we got them to the U.S. Embassy, and then they were prioritized to get flown out by the Air Force. So I ended up at the airport at the U.S. Embassy. I saw some of the task force coming in. Task Force 2, California Task Force 2 is a LA County International Search and Rescue Team. And I wasn't on the job yet, but I had been an explorer for like a couple of years already. And I was wearing a county shirt, like the department that I now work for. Um, I lost everything in the apartment, but I had the shirt on my back and was wearing a county shirt, county hat. And LA County Task Force 2 flies in, and I'm like, hey, guys, what's up? You know, none of them knew me. I was just a kid, but I was 19 at the time. And I asked if I could help out. I was like, yeah, I know the language. Like, I have, like, you know, local knowledge. And I was here during the earthquake and stuff. And I'm an explorer. I got the shirt. And they're like, nope, sorry, kid. Like,
You gotta go.
We got our own
go
thing.
With your family and let us do what we need to do.
Yeah. So now, like, in retrospect, I was kind of bitter about it. But in retrospect, I totally get it, because I eventually got hired. I got on that team. And I understood, like, all the red tape, you know.
Even to think about that, the last thing I would think about if I was flying from LA County to Haiti for this earthquake is that some 19-year-old explorer kid with our t-shirt is going to be like, hey man, I'm here. Can I help? Like, it just is one of those things that you'd be like, what are you? No, go stay with your family. Let us do this part, buddy. Like,
yeah, totally, like, out of left field. And like, can I do a ride along with you guys or what? You know,
we jump in with the team right now and then we can make this happen. But that's just, it's just one of those things that, like, I can't even fathom that experience. And it's definitely a podcast in and of itself, you know, just to kind of talk about that. But you work with a foundation kind of helping still rebuild Haiti, because even though that was 14 years ago, they've never, I mean, they were in not the best place before that, but after that earthquake and that devastation, they've really just not been able to come back necessarily. Mm-hmm. And what's going on there now is just a whole different thing.
Yeah, they've never gotten a break. Poor country in the Western Hemisphere before the earthquake, and then the earthquake happens and just levels the whole country.
And it's gorgeous. I've been there. So I went there on a cruise ship, like, for a day. We went to Haiti. We docked in Haiti and did a little hike. Not even thinking, like, hey, we're in this maybe not the safest country in the world, but hey, we'll go for a hike with the cruise ship. Why not go into the jungle?
I'm sure they took you to, like, the nicest place they could find.
It was right by the airport is where the Royal Caribbean. I mean, this is going back almost 20 years ago. My wife and I went on this cruise.
It was a while ago. Okay, gotcha.
But yeah, it was, like, right near the airport, and, like, there were, like, 3 things you could do, like, to get off the ship and go do, and it was, like, all the warnings of, like, stay on the ship here if you don't have a plan with us. Don't just go off on your own.
It's definitely very, very dangerous. Most kidnappings per capita in the world when I lived there, 100 a week in my city. Like, it was bad. You'd hear gunfire all day long. When we eventually, like, had to evacuate out of Haiti when I was a teenager, and they're making roadblocks with dead bodies. They were, like, cars were on fire, tires were on fire. You could see smoke headers anywhere you looked. Very crazy, dangerous country, civil unrest, civil war going on. But yeah, to touch on the nonprofit I started, I spent about a month in Haiti, and so I didn't go back with my family. They got evacuated by the Air Force, and I told my dad, like, I need to stay, like, this is my calling. Like I'm here for a reason. It's not coincidence that I was here and that I'm still alive and stuff. So I stayed. I found another search and rescue team. I did search and rescue with them. I joined up with a helicopter team. We dropped food all over the country for a week. I joined up with MASH Hospital, and we did amputations and learned all this stuff I would never be allowed to do here in the States. And then we did rubble removal. And eventually I left Haiti after about a month of just not sleeping, not eating, doing as much work as I possibly could. So I came back to the States. I was like, I want to keep helping Haiti. Like there's a lot of help, or a lot of people that need help still. And I'm just, a drop in the bucket, but I want to do my part. I got a second chance. I shouldn't be alive. My family shouldn't be alive. I want to give back. So I started a nonprofit called Firm Foundation, and spelled with E at the end of Firm, so like firme. And that means solid or strong in the Creole language. So a strong foundation, and it was designed to build houses for earthquake survivors in Haiti. So we started raising money. I started sharing my story, going around colleges and churches and hosting events and speaking, and just like getting people to buy in, to who Trevor is and what he and his family went through, and give back to the people of Haiti a little bit. So we've built 39 houses so far. Each house, like these families are pretty big, it's not just like a 1-2 person family. These are like 10 people will pile into these houses, and they're not big. They're not like an American house, but it makes a difference for them, and it provides shelter in a dangerous place that, security is an issue, but also like disease and hurricanes and flooding and that sort of thing. So a place to lay your head at night is pretty important for anybody, but especially homeless people in Haiti. It's pretty rough out there. So 39 houses and counting. We haven't gone back in a few years. It's been continued to get more and more dangerous. So I don't feel comfortable bringing teams down. But we were at a point where we were kind of like self-sufficient, where I was hiring Haitian construction workers, creating jobs. Everything was kind of being utilized in Haiti, using Haitians, and it was going good for a while, but now it's to the point where like people aren't allowed to go to work. People aren't working. They're getting like killed and stuff just for like going out in public. So operations have taken a pause, but we still collect the money and stuff. So eventually, hopefully we get back down there and do some more good.
And that's the right decision, right? Is that it's taking a pause. It's not going away. It's just currently on pause for your own safety and the folks that you have working with it, because it's a kind of the last thing you want to do. But that's the same as the decisions we make in the fire service, is you have to make a risk versus reward benefit or analysis and make the most benefit. And being someone who runs a not-for-profit that's currently on a pause, let's say, for various reasons, but it's one of the hardest things to do. And for your story is nothing like tied into what I've done with 555, but it really does mean a lot to you. And you can tell the way you talk about it and then that time there and how far you've come. And I mean, you're going to get back down there someday. It's just a matter of when the situation allows.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they're going to need even more help now. Unfortunately, not from a natural disaster, but from everything that's happened down there recently, that folks like you are going to be able to really, hopefully get them back on their feet.
Yeah, it's dynamic. It's like a huge. There's lots of things going on, right? So there's like
it's
lots
so
of
much.
problems.
Two firefighters cannot even convey the story, and you have way more knowledge about it than I do for sure. But just you almost don't think it could be happening today, right? Is that an easy way to put it?
Yeah. Yep.
Anywhere, especially when you're connected to a country that makes most of its money off tourism, and you're literally connected to it. It's not like a separate island. They're connected.
Right. The Dominican. Yeah. You fly over, you see green and brown. Like you see a clear separation between the two countries. One's flourishing and one is not, like, at all. So that's crazy.
Well, I mean, and I know you have, I'm sure you still know some folks down there and things. And, like we're obviously wishing them, complete safety and the best for anything that can happen down there. And it's good to know that when they're the ability for you to get back down there, I know you're going to be the first dude on the plane probably going to help. So.
Yeah. Can't wait. just waiting for whenever that may be.
And that's it. And sometimes that's what you have to do, right? But you're not sitting on your hands doing nothing. You're doing, 8 million Williams key projects and door hangers for firefighters who break into people's apartments and leaving them notes. So you're still out there doing the good. And I think that's that, what your dad gave you, that idea man type thing. Like, let's just keep rolling.
Yeah.
I like that too, the idea man. Although I'm thinking the good hacker is really going to be the title of this episode, because that's just too good of a title.
Is that what we mentioned earlier? I'm trying to remember all the phrases.
Yeah,
that
you
got
talked about
today.
being like a good hacker. Like you can help people to learn how to protect their properties and things. So
I like that. I think that'll get somebody's attention.
I hope so. At least if not, it has me thinking of the great early 2000s, late 90s movie Hacker. So just in my own mind, like I want to go watch Angelina Jolie in that movie. So
nice.
And kids, if you haven't seen it, watch Hackers. I'm sure it's on one of the streaming services out there.
I'll refresh on it.
And again, this is how this goes. We just had a class the other day on my shift, and the guy teaching it was about New Jersey Transit guy came down to just put on about when we interact with trains, because we have the Northeast Corridor. And he was a big movie line guy, and he realized that my shift is really big in movie lines. And so we had a class taught in movie lines, and it was like the best class ever.
Oh, that's funny.
Like,
that's a
cool
dynamic.
Pick which movie he said or we said, and still learning about trains.
Nice. I love that.
Always good times. Well, we're getting to that hour mark, and I said now it's always an hour, but it's really 70 minutes. It's the new goal for the podcast. But I do like to wrap up with 10 quick questions that never go quick, if you don't mind.
Okay.
Cool, man. So which one are you picking, the beach or the mountains? Because Haiti has both. So.
Ooh, okay. So I used to be a counselor at a wilderness camp in the Adirondacks in New York, upstate New York, and I did that for 6 years. I love the mountains. I would definitely pick the mountains.
Nice. You pretty much lived everywhere, like except the middle of the country. Anywhere in the middle of the country that you lived?
Not yet. Maybe Texas one of these days.
Because you're from California, so why not move to Texas? That's what everybody's doing out here. So
it seems like the next logical thing.
It's like Jersey. People move to Florida. Like that's it. Like it's just where you are. Number 2, night out or night in?
Nowadays, shoot, night in, man. Like I had my fun back in the day, but with the kids and the wife.
Find a babysitter for the 1 and 2 year old.
Yeah, no, we do. We have date night tonight, actually. But
nice. I do have date night tonight. Look at that.
Yeah, we try. I have a Harley, and me and my wife have traveled the whole U.S. We did a 32 day, 8,000 mile Harley trip back in 2020. And so she loves the bike, and I love riding too. And so we've been trying to pick like kind of local spots where we can take side streets and hit a restaurant or whatever and take the bike out.
It's it's a win. We're trying to do 52 date nights, 1 a week. We hit a very local spot to us, and we're like, we need to go to some other places. Like the boys are old enough to stay home by themselves. Like we can drive more than 3 miles, but it's just, we like going there. So we just keep going there.
Yeah. No, that's healthy though. That's really good.
It is, and it's just an hour or two, and sometimes we're talking about work, or I'm talking about the pod. Like we'll talk about you tonight for a little bit, but it's just that time where it's just us. And I think for me, it's not even the time. It's just committing to giving the time that matters the most to me, that she's committing to not do her thing, I'm committing to not do my thing, and we're out there doing our thing together.
Yeah, that's good.
So we're trying. All right, how about a movie? A movie everybody's got to watch.
Ooh. Oh man, I'm a big movie guy. Like I love movies. That's a hard one because there's so many I like. I'll say a random one that's probably like underrated that I saw. I think it came out like a year ago. It's not very deep, but it's a good watch. It's called Fall. Have you heard of Fall?
Okay. I'll have to check that out. I do not know that one.
I'll give a quick premise. These 2 girls end up climbing like the tallest radio tower in the U.S. and get stuck up there. So
so you even went like
keep you on the edge of your
service
seat.
related movie, not just movie. I gotcha.
Yeah.
See, I don't know if I want to watch that because we got radio towers, and I'm always like, man, if somebody climbs this thing on a day I'm working, like I'm going, but I don't really want to go.
It'll make you uncomfortable. Yeah. Those seem to be the type of movies I like recently. They draw some sort of emotion out of me.
Got it. Cool. Fall. We'll check it out. All right. Cross country road trip. Who is your celebrity co-pilot, living or dead?
Oh, for sure, Vin Diesel. Yeah, we're taking a muscle car. We're traveling the whole U.S. quarter mile at a time.
I cannot tell you how much Fast and Furious references have been happening in my life recently. So
I love Fast and Furious. Yeah, I grew up on it.
Do you make your bed every day?
Okay, so who's the dude that says to do that? What's his name?
I can never remember his name, but I know who.
Okay, so I recently, I know it's been around for a while, but that was recently brought up to me because I don't like to make my bed, and it wasn't by my wife; it was somebody at the station, and I was like, "All right, explain to me like why you should make your bed every day," and they explained like, it's the first task of the day, and you accomplish a goal, and the rest of your day is going to be like more task oriented and more successful. I'm like, okay, I can get behind that. And I started trying to like rationalize like, hey, as a firefighter, we're like every day we're somewhere else, and it's like it's hard to make your bed first thing in the morning if you're always packing up your bed. And at home I leave and my wife is still in the bed, so like I can't make that bed. But I was like, you know what, I'm not going to overthink it. Like when I can, I will make my bed first thing in the morning. So as of recently, I would have to say yes.
Good for you. That's good. I make mine every day. It's really just throw the blanket over it, and I don't know if it means my day is going to be great, but now I'm just programmed to do it. So like if I forget, I walk back in the room.
Yeah. So I because I don't get to make it every single day, and I only make it during those opportunities where I can make it, I make it really well. Like I like smooth it out. Corners. I put like 3 blankets and like I put my best work into it.
Good stuff, man. I like that. I'm not changing. I'm just still throwing the thing back over. But I do like what you got going on there. How about a book that everybody needs to read?
I'm not a big reader lately. My like Sunday school answer would be the Bible. Read the Bible. It's good. Wild at Heart is a book that I've always liked. It kind of it's an older book, but it kind of is what it kind of means to be a man and what drives us and stuff. So I like that one.
Cool. I would go with that one. New one. I always like getting new ones. So for the first time a few episodes ago, someone actually did say the Bible. So now you're the second Bible reference, but we'll go with Wild at Heart. So
it's safe. It can be original.
What are you taking? Highways or back roads?
Back roads.
Always. How about a bucket list place to visit?
I haven't been to Europe really at all, so that's a big one on my list.
Cool. It's definitely worth it. I've been hit a couple spots there and way more to go, so I would head out as soon as you can.
Yeah, there's
once
a lot
those
to
girls
do
are
there.
a little older. That's the other cool part too. When your kids are older, I can say my boys are great travelers now. And we did a lot of traveling with them when they were little, but now we're hitting Europe and Iceland and Australia. Like we're making it happen.
Nice.
Plus, they carry their own bags. So that's really the key when you can travel with your kids, when they can carry their own car.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
And you don't have to carry them. So, all right, which one is it going to be for you? Is it football or football?
American football. American football. That was one of the only sports I actually got to do in between like doing missionary work and being overseas and stuff when I lived in Connecticut. Because you asked earlier why, I have family on my mom's side, so that was kind of a home base for us.
Gotcha.
So when I lived in Connecticut, I got to play like the Pop Warner football, and I loved it. That was my favorite sport. I got the raw deal with football because I was the kid that like was not local, did not fit in. They wouldn't let me play, so I kind of got like a bad taste in my mouth with football.
Understandable. Yeah. So you could go either way though, because it could be like, no, I play football because I was in Haiti so long and I'm amazing at it, or it was like, no, you can't play. Stay over there.
Yeah, that makes sense.
All right, the last one. The best piece of advice you could give to your younger self.
Wear hearing protection, because I'm definitely going deaf in like my left ear. Probably both ears, but more the left ear. And buy Bitcoin. Yeah,
There you go.
I'd
That's
be better
some
off
good
today
advice
if
right
I
there.
bought Bitcoin.
We talked about the going deaf part before we started recording, and you snuck it back in there. Being a pro podcast guest, I forgot that we were going to talk about that, and you just snuck it in. So
got to bring it full circle.
That's it, man. It's perfect at the end. That buy Bitcoin. Like who can go wrong with saying? It's like saying buy Apple. Someone else did say buy Apple at one point.
Yeah, like basically buy any stock like that is still around today.
Trevor, this has been a great hour, man. I can't appreciate you reaching out and coming on the show enough. But where can everybody find you at? And which of your multiple social media pages that I'll collaborate with and tag?
Yeah, so I'm most active on the Instagram for Williams Key. So the Williams Key. You can email me or send a DM. I love to talk shop. I'll talk to you about anything. Like there's no bad questions. If you're having trouble with a tool or getting through a door or have a question about a door or a lock, send me photos, send me videos. I'll talk you through it. The williamskey@gmail.com works, or anything at williamskey.com will also get to me, like Trevor or info or whatever. So email me, that's fine too. Williamskey.com, you can find a lot of resources and information there, lots of videos, lots of ways to reach me. But just Google Williams Key, and as long as you don't pick a distributor, you will find me. Yep.
Which through the williamskey.com, I've been on it now a few times. Even before we talked about doing this podcast, I've obviously watched some of your videos trying to get into places. And for firefighters out there, it is just a great free resource that is showing you how to utilize the tool, but also giving you tips about doors from a guy who now was building doors prior to deciding to break through them in the most softest way possible, or sometimes not. So that is pretty cool. But thank you so much for coming on, man. This has been great. It's a pleasure to meet you. Thanks to everybody for listening, all our sponsors, and everyone for tuning in. And until next time, this is Pip for the Size Up by National Fire Radio, because what you do off the job matters.
National Fire Radio.